Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Bowman with Olympia Piano, and today I'd like to share with you an intermediate warm-up in the key of G major. It's a 6-part warm-up, and it's kind of like a music theory technique all-in-one warm-up. It's patterned after the MTNA Music Literacy Program Level 4, so if you are in the US and you're preparing for those exams, you can use this video to help you prepare. If you're not in the US, please don't worry. This is a great warm-up no matter where you live. We're going to jump right in with the G major scale. We're going to play it 3 different ways. And the G major scale has 1 sharp, it's F sharp. So we'll get started with the right hand, fingering 1, 2, 3, cross under, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's what I call standard fingering, 3 plus 5. Here we go. Let's do the same thing with the left hand, 1 octave lower. Now we'll go a tiny bit slower. As we put the hands together, I'd like to remind you something is always happening on 3. That means right hand's going under or left hand's going over. Right hand under, left hand over. Come back down, left hand under, right hand over. As you get more fluent with these, notice how I'm crossing under and over as soon as I'm done with that finger. So let's go to part 2 of the warm-up. This is called primary chords. These are the 3 major chords in your major scale key. And we find these chords by using these scale notes and creating chords starting at the bottom of the scale. By the way, this is called diatonic chords, diatonic coming from the scale. So our 1 chord is one of our primary chords. It has the tonic on the bottom, or G in this case. Now we're going to march up the scale using the notes of the scale, 3. And then our 4 chord, also a major chord, that's C major. And then our 5 chord, remember, has that F sharp in the middle. So primary chords, I'll play the right hand up here, is 1 is G major, 4 C major, and 5 D major. Now let's do that same thing with the left hand. 1 up to 4, up to 5. Let's do it together. 1, 4, and 5 has the black key. Part 3, we're going to play what's called inversions of a chord. And all an inversion is taking the letters or the notes of a chord and putting them in a different order. So when we are in tonic, root position, it kind of fits all of our fingers, and the other ones are going to be a little more stretched out. So we've got G, B, D, 1, 3, 5. Now, first inversion, so the first different one, we're going to put the G on top. So notice when we put the G on top, there's one note that doesn't have a finger sitting on it. That's called first inversion, B, D, G. Let's do that same thing. Let's put the B on top. 1, 3, 5, and then let's go back to tonic. And this time as we come down, I'd like you to pay attention to the fingering. So tonic is 5, 3, 1. Second inversion, 5, 3, 1. First inversion, 5, 2, 1. And 5, 3, 1. Now let's do the same thing with the left hand. We'll just go over the fingering. 5, 3, 1 for root. 5, 3, 1, first inversion. 5, 2, 1, second inversion. 5, 3, 1, root. Back down. 5, 2, 1. 5, 3, 1, root. Now, hands together, what I want you to focus on when you do it hands together is which one has the finger 2. So we start with tonic, both 5, 3, 1. Then we move to first inversion. First inversion, right hand has the finger 2. Then we move to second inversion. Second inversion, left hand has the finger 2, and back to root, 5, 3, 1. Left hand finger 2, right hand finger 2, root. Part 4 of the warm-up. What we're going to do now is we're going to play a chord progression, and we're going to use those primary chords we talked about at the beginning, the 1, the 4, and the 5. The only thing we're going to change is in the 5 chord, where instead of playing just the plain 5 chord, we're going to play what's called the 5-7, which is as if you added another note to it. It's typically a 4-note chord. In this case, we're not going to have a 4-note chord. We're going to leave out the A. And we're going to play an inversion of it, incidentally. We're going to play the version with the D on the top. So that's going to be our 5-7 chord that we use for the chord progression. So during the chord progression, we want to avoid hopping up and down. So we're going to look for the closest versions of the chords. So between the 1 chord and the 4 chord, they have a note in common. So 1 chord is a G chord, and the 4 chord is a C chord. You can see they have the G in common. So what we're going to do is when we move from 1 to 4, we are going to use the 4 chord that has the G on the bottom, which happens to be the second inversion. So we're going to go from 1. Then we're going to take fingers 3 and 5, move them up 1 in the scale, move them back down for the 1 chord, that G chord. And then we're going to play that 5-7 chord I just showed you with the D on top, no A. Thumb's going to slide down a half step. We're going to play finger 4 instead. These are going to squeeze back in by half steps to 1. So 1, up to 4, back to 1, down to 5-7, squeeze back to 1. Let's do that with the left hand. Left hand's going to feel a little bit different because finger 5's on the G instead of finger 1. So it will be the same notes, but different fingers. So when we go from 1 to 4, 2 is going to play, thumb's going to scoot up a whole step, back to 1. Then again, 2 is going to play, 5 is going to move down a half step. These are going to squeeze back in to 5 and 3. So now, when we do it hands together, right hand's moving, left hand's just scooting the thumb. Right hand moves back. Bottom note goes down a half step, switch fingers on the top, and back. Part 5 of the warm-up, we're going to play a one-handed arpeggio. Arpeggio is just a broken chord, so it's a broken G chord, but we're going to put an extra G on the top, so it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1. I want you to feel that pivot on fingers 2 and 3, and don't feel like you have to hold your hand in one position. 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1. Left hand fingering is going to be 4 on the B, 2 on the D. Same kind of thing with the pivot. 5, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5. Hands together. 4 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 2, 4 and 2. Part 6 of the warm-up, what we're going to do is we're going to create intervals from the tonic note. In this case, the tonic note is G. We're going to create intervals, which is a distance between 2 notes from the bottom note of the scale, like this. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, stretch up to 7th. Same thing with the left hand. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Let's try that, hands together. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And that's it. You've completed your intermediate warm-up level 4 music literacy program. This was in the key of G. I appreciate you watching it with me. If you found this type of teaching valuable, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, share with others, mention this channel in your social media at Olympia Piano on YouTube. You can also donate directly through PayPal or even YouTube Super Thanks. You find the thanks by looking at the video. The bottom of the video, you'll see share, save, then you'll see 3 dots. Just click on those. You'll see the word thanks. Your donations allow me to create more content that can reach people all over the world, especially those who don't really have an access to a piano teacher in this style of piano. As you've heard me say before, I love to know where you're from. Please leave your location in the comments. I love that the piano can bring us all together all across the world. And as always, thank you for watching.